That's really an important takeaway point that we have got to talk. The word says that life or death is in the tongue.
Amen. Amen.
So, absolutely. I mean, and that's more than just, we take that verse to speak life, speak life, speak life. Speak.
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 Yes.
Wow. Tell on it.
That's the key to speak. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Speak.
The word says that life or death is in the tongue.
Amen. Amen.
So, absolutely. I mean, and that's more than just, we take that verse to speak life, speak life, speak life. Speak.
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 Yes.
Wow. Tell on it.
That's the key to speak. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Speak. Because we remain silent so many times.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the easiest way to not face it.
Right.
That's the easiest way to protect the abuser.
Right.
Or the, whatever we would call them. A lot of times we protect them unintentionally.
Right.
And we don't want anyone to know that we've been weak.
True. And then too, it's not necessarily that we're like you said, we're not protecting them on purpose, but a lot of times they have also put us in a situation to feel like we need to protect those around us, because a lot of abusers will threaten, your reputation, your other family members, your employment.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with a lady last year, and her husband didn't want her working at that company, so he did all kinds of stuff. I mean, including filing a complaint against her with the Special Investigations Unit at our company.
Wow.
And he ended up getting her arrested. This is his wife.
And that's a form of bullying.
Yes, he absolutely was a bully.
Yeah. And think about how many other people deal with things like that.
Right.
We don't know what each other carry.
Right.
Every day.
Very true.
The people you work with, the people you go to church with, your friends, your family members, we're carrying a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, I'm 34. There are many 34-year-olds who are still carrying trauma from childhood.
Yes. There are
5-year-olds.
44-year-olds. I'm 44.
Right. But just think about when you look at decades.
Right.
So let's say, for instance, someone experienced trauma at 4. 3 decades, this trauma has been carried over. So from your childhood to your adolescent years, your teen years, now your young adult years, you're 30 now, and none of that baggage was ever dropped off.
Right, so you're carrying a load.
You're carrying a truckload of stuff, heavy stuff, right? So when you get to the point where you're trying to enter into a relationship, or you're trying to find yourself, or you're trying to deal with your kids, or whatever it is, there's so much you're carrying in your mind and your spirit, you ain't let none of it go.
Right.
And that's why so many of us are stuck in that space. These are the things that leads to drug abuse, alcohol abuse, abusing ourselves sexually, mental abuse, physical abuse. We don't deal with our stuff.
Right. Or even the low self-esteem, the putting ourselves in harm's way to where we are compromising to appease other people, needing to do anything for affection.
Anything for affection, attention.
Right.
Love, what we think is love.
Right.
Anything that could potentially resemble love, we go for it.
Right.
Because we don't, A, know what love looks like, and B, if it feels good, it's got to be love.
Right, because you're looking for something to make that pain go away.
Comfort you, yeah.
Yeah, so instead of just dealing with the pain to begin with, you know, because pain begets more pain. Pain produces more pain.
Right.
So,
as what do they say? Hurt people hurt people.
Right.
And in talking about the teens, I just remember thinking back to my teenage years. I was a very independent teenager.
Okay.
My mom worked. My brother left home very early. Probably by 14, he was in and out the house. 15, he was gone.
Okay.
So it really was just me. By 13, 14, I could fully cook meals. I could do my own hair. I was washing clothes. Anything that an adult could do, I could do. During that time, I needed guidance. And when I would go to my mom to talk to her for whatever it was, she didn't know how to reach me because she was dealing with her own stuff.
Yeah.
So those moments of her dealing with her stuff and not understanding to include me in those conversations, I needed to be in those conversations. I needed to know that my mother dealt with anxiety and panic attacks. I didn't understand what they were. I just remember being 8 or 9 years old, watching my mother freak out and me calming her down.
Right.
No one tells an 8 or 9 year old, hey, I'm going to need you to learn how to deal with panic attacks because your mom's going to freak and you're going to need to help her.
Right.
So I did what I knew how to do instinctively. Mom, calm down. Breathe. It's going to be okay. I'd stroke her back. Anything to help comfort her through that moment.
Right.
And once she was over it, it was like nothing had ever happened. So when we would have family events and people would come over, I would see her laughing and smiling and giggling, and I'm sitting here like, no one knows, she just went crazy on me, you know.
Right.
But the reality is I didn't understand what she was dealing with.
Right.
No one did.
Right.
But to include me in those conversations would have been life-changing because I could have learned how to deal with my own life.
Right.
But when I hit teenage years, I was all about self. Let me figure out how to survive because clearly I'm going to have to do this alone. And I didn't have the guidance of, hey, if you get into a relationship and a guy does this, walk away. I was always taught that old school method. You forgive people who do wrong to you. You forgive. But no one ever said walk away.
Right. Well, I mean, even with, I'm trying to say this in a politically correct way.
Okay.
A lot of things that we learned at church, in terms of where, as it relates to abuse and even mental illness, kind of put us, because I guess there wasn't a clear understanding or interpretation of those verses to say to us, hey, it's okay to, yes, forgive that person, but you don't have to let them back in your life.
Right.
You don't have to keep dealing with them. Yes, the word does say forgive,
right,
but there's nowhere in this book that it says that you have to continue taking abuse.
That's right.
After you forgive.
That's right. You're absolutely right.
You know, and as kids, nobody goes into, you know, they don't elaborate. They don't go into detail. It's just do
you take this answer and that's it.
That's it. You know,
because I said so.
Right, and that is, oh my gosh, I hate that answer. I can't. My parents over-explain stuff, and as a kid, I didn't appreciate it. You know, when I would get in trouble, which didn't happen a whole lot, but it happened enough for me to know that I was about to get a dissertation, a whole lecture.
Okay. I'm a lecturer too.
You know, and I mean, I would be sitting there so long that it's like, okay, now I'm feeling tortured. But as an adult, I look back on that, and you know, I understand now why I seek answers the way that I do, because my parents took the time to explain stuff to me.
Right.
You know,
and I do that with my boys. They're 16 and 12.
Okay.
And because things weren't thoroughly explained to me when I would go to ask questions, because I was always full of questions.
Right.
I wanted things broken down to me because I wanted to gain an understanding.
Right.
Please explain to me how this works, how this functions. How do you feel? You know. So when my kids came along, I made it my business to make sure they understood whatever I was telling them.
Absolutely.
So I'm not just going to give you a short answer. I'm going to give you an explanation of how I got there.
I pray that this segment has been enlightening for you, and I thank you for your time. And Miss D is signing off for the Teen Scene 10 on the Terri Graham Radio Show.